All right. Among our busy list of topics, I was very energized to see Congressman Diane Black of Tennessee's 6th District, great portion of northern middle Tennessee, where she has led nearly 20 other members of Congress in sending a letter to President Obama outlining strong opposition to this Cuba normalization. How's this been striking you? Hey, we're going to do embassies. We're going to do travel. We're going to open things up. Isn't this great? Well, no, it's not, says Congressman Black and the other folks on that letter. And Ms. Black, it's a pleasure to welcome you. How you doing, ma'am?
It's great to be with you this morning, Mark. Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's talk about this letter. Let's talk about some more recent history. We had 50-plus years of moral clarity that said that if Cuba's going to be a communist country, we're going to hold you at arm's length in the following ways. President Obama offers up this logic that, quote-unquote, the sanctions didn't work. I think they worked perfectly. They didn't completely work until they bring the Castros down, but there's no hope of that because the Castros have now been rewarded.
Exactly. And now what we see is this president, it's just like Iran. He just wants to make a deal. It doesn't matter what's in the deal. He just wants to make a deal. And now he's doing this with Cuba. And up until the end of May, when he started all this discussion, Cuba was still on the list by the federal government as a state sponsor of terrorism. Where did that go? Has that changed? We know that there are still human rights issues there in that country. But let's set that aside. If we are going to have a deal with them, which, again, I don't agree with, we should get something from it. And that's simply what we're saying. We know that there are about 21,000 Cuban nationals here in our country that have committed crimes. They're rated as a threat level 1 by our Homeland Security. And I'm saying you should take them back. We have put them in our prisons. The Supreme Court says you cannot hold them any longer than the term of their prison sentence. And now they're out roaming the streets because we can't send them back to their country because Cuba refuses to take them back. Why should we have their criminals roaming our streets and not be able to say at least to Cuba, take back your criminals?
You know, it's funny.
That's what we're asking the president. Why are you not including this in the negotiation?
Well, I think every once in a while we ask questions that we full well know the answers to, just so the question is out there. And this kind of takes us directly to San Francisco and sanctuary cities and all of this. This is an administration that has willful blindness to the threats posed by foreign immigrant, illegal immigrant criminals.
Absolutely, and we're seeing the results of it, of this misguided passion, that we think that, we have to have this compassion for people, and it's so misguided. And what we have done is you can see out in San Francisco, we have put our own Americans at risk by people that are here in this country illegally who are criminals. And we want them out of our country, and we want Cuba to take them back.
Now, these 21,000 whom you invoke, how'd they get here? Were a lot of them, do many of them go back as far as the Mario boat lift generation and a half ago?
Yes, many of them do. And this is back in 2012, the Department of Homeland Security were the ones who came up with this list that are here. And we have been tracking this, and we thought this was a really good time because this is a concern for me, not just about Cuba, but there are other nations that refuse to take back their criminals as well. But this is one, when you have a large group such as this, and level 1 threats are pretty large. I mean, these are people that have done really bad things in our country, and we're not tracking them. If we let an American citizen out of jail once they've served their term, we still track them. And in this instance, we are not tracking them, and they are out on the streets, and who knows what next crime is going to be committed by them, and something similar to what we see out in San Francisco may very well happen.
I'm always intrigued by the political etiquette of the letter to the president signed by 20 members of Congress. I've read it. Thousands are now hearing about it. Does the president actually see it, and do you ever get a note back?
Rarely, and sometimes I will tell you I did another letter to him with my colleague Tom Reed from New York many years ago when I first got elected back, I think it was in 2011 when I did this letter, and he didn't respond to us, and we wrote him another letter saying you still haven't responded. We actually took a busload of our colleagues over to in front of the White House and pinned the letter to the gate out in front of the White House to say here we are.
That's tremendous. Congressman Diane Black with us. Now, speaking of etiquette, when Carly Fiorina comes out on the presidential campaign trail, a lot of times on the back there'll be a banner that says Mrs. Carly Fiorina. A lot of people say, doggone it, that's nice. Very old school. Representative Diane Black pushes back a little bit against the complete over-analysis of what sex her job is and insists on referring to herself as Congressman Diane Black. What's the logic behind that?
Well, I believe that it is not a gender position. It is a position that is named in our Constitution. It says Congressman. And I always tell people when a young lady goes to the first year of high school or college, we don't call her a fresh woman. We call her a freshman. It's a title. Yeah. And that's what it is. And I don't get into that gender nonsense. I'm here to serve. It doesn't matter whether I'm a male or a female. I'm here to serve.
Well, and that you have done there in the middle, that wonderful midsection of the great state of Tennessee. And again, Congressman Diane Black blasting Obama-Cuba policy, calling for the deportation of convicted criminals. That is the release from her. Check her out. And we enjoy having you on, ma'am. I appreciate it very much. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mark. Enjoy your show.